Like I said, if you get some sediment in there, no big deal. It's really not. You just want to get most of it out of there. And of course, you can look down and you can see where your racking cane is and the end of it, and just keep slowly lowering it down. Also, you can see, kind of where the wine level is. So, like I said, this right here is kind of boring, but it's necessary to do. And you just say you do it once a month, and then you keep checking your specific gravity every month until it gets below 1, and then when it's below 1, we'll clear the wine, we'll finish the wine, and by finishing I mean we're going to inhibit the yeast so they don't continue to reproduce and grow and ferment. Because if you do that and you bottle your wine and it's still fermenting, your wine bottles will pop and they'll shoot wine and everything across your carpet, everywhere. And you don't want that to happen. We're almost getting toward the bottom here. Just kind of a slow process. And with this thing, it'll kind of let you know when, like, if you leave it in here, it'll start sucking air and little air bubbles will go down there, and that just means you need to drop it down a little bit more. So if you don't like what I have to say, this is a good time to fast forward until we're done with this. Because this is kind of a boring process. It's the most boring process of making wine. Because you don't do nothing except sit here and stand for it to transport. Soon here, almost to the bottom, I'm going to start tilting it here. And remember, the next 1 to 3 months, that equipment that I mentioned in the last video, you need to start rounding together. I think I said, your wine bottles, your corks, your corker, a clearing agent, either bentonite or that super clear stuff that I have. Start getting that stuff all rounded up, because you're going to need it. Alright, now I'm going to tilt it slowly, just to make sure I get more wine. And when it's done here, I'll show you the sediment. One thing you got to keep track is how full your carboy is too, because like I said, it's a 5-gallon carboy, but I always usually make a little extra. And I have run the carboy over before just by not paying attention. I made more wine and I got it all in there, but you want to try to get it as full as you can. And so you can see the sediment down in there. That's all dead yeast. Yeast don't have a very long lifespan, but they reproduce very quickly. Alright, now my wine's starting to get full down here. So I'm going to kind of pull that out slowly to make sure I don't... Oh, we're done. Oh, that's pretty good. Got right up there. Make sure all that wine's out of there so you don't spill it on your floor. Alright. Now that's done. So now what we do with this, we grab our bung like I said before. Stick it in the top there. And we grab our airlock. Fill it up with some water. Stick that in there. Now you can see the sediment in the bottom, all the dead yeast. What you want to do is you want to wash that out of there. And then I've made, maybe 10 different wines or more out of this bucket. But before you make another wine out of this bucket, you need to make sure it's really clean. Plastic is porous, so you got to get something that's going to get into all those pores and really take everything out of there. And there's a product I use called Be Bright. Again, I bought it in bulk off of eBay. I can't remember how much this costs, but it was a lot cheaper than buying the little round containers. Just follow the direction, 1 tablespoon per gallon of warm water. Fill it up with water, mix that in there, let it sit for 24 hours, and then rinse it out with cold water. And if you want to, you can use soap and water again. And then that will be ready to use again for a different wine. And that's the same with carboys. When they're done, you're done bottling, put this stuff in there, let it soak for 24 hours, and then you can use it again for something else. Alright, so all we got left to do tonight is I'm going to take this in the other room where I have my other wine, and I'm going to set it by those. I got to find my carrying handle, which I believe is right in here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't know where it's at. Alright, now you can tell you about the thing about hurting your back like I told you the other night. Ugh. So we're just going to take this wine and we're going to move it into the next room. I move it into the next room because I have it temperature regulated in there. As you see, I've got other wines in here. And the boxes that the carboys come in, I keep them. I cut the bottoms off of them because you want your wine in a relatively cool, dark place. And so that will keep the sunlight off of your wine. And that's pretty much it. Leave it in there. We'll check it in a month. You won't see it bubble as much as you did with primary fermentation. But that's why we're going to check it and rack it every month just to make sure that it is still fermenting.
Haven't we also had to add water to the secondary fermenter after we've transferred it from there? Because there wasn't enough to fill the carboy?
Yeah, if there is not enough to fill the carboy, like if you misjudged it in primary fermentation where you didn't get the full 5 gallons, you can always add more water just to take away the space. Of course, it's going to thin out your wine some, but it's all the taste.
It's better to have it full.
Yeah, you want it full, but you don't want it completely full. You want a little bit of space in there because what will happen if you get it too full, the wine will actually suck up through the bubbler and the wine will come out the bubbler and start spilling over the carboy. I haven't had that happen to me yet, but it can happen.
But it also won't ferment properly if there's too much air.
Yeah. It'll ferment, but your wine can get oxidized. If there's too much oxygen in there during fermentation, it can get oxidized. But all we got now is, clean your equipment, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna leave that sitting there for 1 month, and just let it go. Just leave it alone, let it go. And in 1 month, I'll come back and make another video. We'll check the specific gravity, and then you'll rack it again. Of course, I won't do another video on racking because now you know how to do it. So I don't need to show that again. But we will come back and check the specific gravity, see if we have any problems. Another thing I saw on YouTube, like I said, I'm making this video because I want to do a start to finish video. And on YouTube, there was lots of snippets. They didn't show the whole process. It was, you had to learn from little bits and pieces here and there, and it wasn't good. So, but there is some good videos on YouTube as far as, like, if you can buy a wine kit that'll have everything you need, supplies to make wine. And I've made wine from wine kits before, and they're good. But if you want to make your own wine out of, something that's cheaper, a wine kit will cost you anywhere from $50 to $150, from anywhere from 3 to 6 gallons. So this way, I'm showing you so you can make wine out of anything. You can make wine out of dandelions. You can make them out of honey. You can make it out of Welch's grape juice, Welch's blackberry juice, or that concentrate of Welch's, 100%. We've made wine out of that. So it really opens up your possibilities of whatever you can make wine out of. So, well, that's it for tonight, and I will see you in a month, and we'll do it again.